Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. It's Friday. We are approaching Shabbat. We're still wearing summer clothes. 32 Celsius here in Jerusalem. It's quite extraordinary. This morning, when I was standing in front of my mirror and putting on a little bit of mascara, my window was opened all the way because it's so hot. And something was moving that out of my eye, it caught my attention, something was moving. So I looked at the reflection in the glass of the window from the building a little bit further up. Right next to my building is a green area. But there was something moving between the trees, and I kind of stretched my neck to see what it was. And then in between the green leaves, I could see the blue and white Israeli flag. Someone had put it out on their balcony, and beautifully and ever so gently, it was just beautifully between the green leaves of the trees. I've lived in Israel for many years. I see the Israeli flag every day. But there has been a few times where it just was like right into your gut, right into your heart, right into your whole soul and being. And that's what it was like this morning. Because I started thinking about tomorrow morning. It's been 3 weeks since the portal of hell opened inside Gaza, and 2,500 ISIS Nazi terrorists breached the fence into Israel and committed the worst massacre since the Second World War. I don't know if you can comprehend how many 1,400 people is for a nation this small. Some people are saying it would be the same as if 50,000 people would have been killed in a massacre on the same day in America. Have to remember how small Israel is. So I was just standing there with that beautiful Israeli flag blowing in the wind between the green trees and thinking about all of the families who's going to sit down tonight at a Shabbat table, but they're missing someone. Their father is not there, or maybe mom and dad is not there, or mom and dad is at a table but they're missing their children, or grandma and grandpa are not there because they were all brutally executed, maybe burned alive, decapitated. And now they're sitting at a Shabbat table and someone is missing, someone they had to bury. Or someone is sitting and they want to hug their child. Or a husband is sitting, he want to hug his wife and 2 little children, but they are sitting deep underground inside the Gaza Strip in bunkers. Tomorrow, it's been 3 weeks. It's and every day, like right now, my TV is on. And the names of the people kidnapped comes up, the names, their name, their age. Do you know there's between, I think it's 30 and 40 children who are sitting underground in Gaza right now. And then the reality of everything, again today, code red, rocket barrage from Gaza into Israel. And I want to show you something that happened because there was a house. Look at this. I don't know if you can see this, but there was a house in Tel Aviv that had a direct hit. This house had a direct hit and 3 people were injured. There's another photo I want to show you where you can see the building from above. Oops, that was me. That was not the intention. Let's go the other way. Look here. See this house? It was hit by a rocket today in Tel Aviv, coming all the way from Gaza. Isn't it amazing how they're talking about inside the Gaza Strip that they are lacking everything, but they're not running out of rockets. They have thousands and thousands of rockets. So Magen David Adom, the ambulance service, said that 4 people were injured in this rocket attack. It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle that nobody got killed. So rockets continue to fly in, to fly in, to fly in. So the Israeli Defense Forces, by the Navy, was attacking terror targets last night in Gaza, and also the Israeli military in a short raid went in with tanks and also took out terror targets inside the Gaza Strip last night. And again, they are also, preparing the way for eventually for when the ground troops are going in. Tomorrow morning, 3 weeks. 3 weeks that has been this unbelievable amount of trauma and pain, where every single household, every single family in this nation forever changed. I want to end this video by saying I saw an interview with a husband and wife who was living down in one of the kibbutzes. They had 2 girls. Their oldest daughter had been on a getaway, sleepover, and she was safe with someone else. But that morning they started hearing the rockets. Rockets started flying in. The husband in this family is part of a special unit in the Israeli police. But all of a sudden they started hearing commotion and gunfire. So for a minute they thought it was the army, that it was with the Israeli military. But the gunshots, it got louder and louder, and all of a sudden they started hearing people screaming, speaking Arab. And then out on the WhatsApp group for their community, people started screaming and writing, "No, terrorists, they're terrorists, they're terrorists." Long story short, he said that there were more than 300 terrorists coming into that kibbutz. So he quickly got his wife and his little daughter into the safe room, and they could hear the people were screaming and the gunfire, and they knew this is a massacre that's taking place. We need to protect ourselves. So all he had was his own gun, a Glock. So he got all the ammunition that he could possibly find. He put his wife and his daughter in the safe room, and then he saw that these terrorists started coming around the house. They broke down the windows, and as a police officer and in a special unit, he knows what he's doing. So the first 3 terrorists came into his house, and he managed to shoot them up close. Bam, down they went. Then they came from the other end of the house, and again he managed to kill them, take them down. And he said, and that's also what we have seen, that they knew who lived where. They knew who to find. They have sketches all over these kibbutzim. Everything was planned. They know exactly where to go. So he was holding them off for an hour and a half, shooting them. Then eventually a terrorist came in, and he was one of the leaders, and he spoke fluent English. So he started yelling to this guy, "Surrender, surrender, come out, surrender." And he was like, at that time, he had retreated, he was hiding, with his family, and he was like, "We are not coming out, And, so they started debating and come out, and they actually brought in a young girl from one of the other houses. They used her as a human shield and a hostage, so they could use her psychological warfare. Come out. And he says, "I'm not coming out." And he said, and then he could see that this Hamas leader all of a sudden had I don't know the exact English word for it, but some sort of a missile, that he was going to fire. And he says, I'm gonna fire this. I'm gonna kill all of you. So he started counting down, 10, 9, and this guy was saying, "Okay, I promise, if you let my wife and my daughter live, if you let us go, I'll come out. I will even surrender. Just promise not to kill us." And this Hamas leader was saying, "Okay." So as he kind of jiggled the door and he can see out, he see this Hamas guy start lowering down this missile kind of that he wanted to fire. And as the police officer who knows what he's doing, he quickly just squeezed open the door and he shot him and he killed him point blank. and only by a miracle did they survive. And so the guy who interviewed this family, he says, how many terrorists do you think you killed that day in your house protecting your family? And he says, around, I don't know, somewhere between 10 to 14 terrorists as a special force police officer. But he said, we lost so many people, and his wife was kissing him, and he was saying, my husband is a hero, my husband is a hero. And of course, he was saying, I'm not a hero, but so, the stories that's coming out, also in the big farms, the cows and the dairy farms, people were killed. All the Thai workers, many of them were killed, many of them were hostages. So now the people who are sitting down with all the cows, they don't have anyone. Many of the cows were dying. They didn't get milk for 3 days. So it's beautiful to see how the Israelis are coming together. People are volunteering everywhere. They're going to the cow farms. I saw a young girl, she was 16 years old, and she says, I don't know what I'm doing, but he needs help. I'm here to volunteer. They went to another farm where they're trying to do harvest with red bell pepper, green bell pepper, avocado. All the foreign workers are gone. So people are also coming in from all over Israel. So that is beautiful to see how they are coming together. There be a blessing here, there be a blessing here. And that's because, again, like I've said before, there is not one family that's not impacted by all of this. So Israel is still preparing for the ground operation. It takes time to strategically plan this operation, who's going to go in and where and how and if, and especially with everything going up on the north. But as Benjamin Netanyahu has said, and the chief of staff for the Israeli military has also said, if we dare, is Hezbollah, if you get involved, we're going to bomb you back to the Stone Age. You're not going to know what hit you. And that is what Hezbollah know. They have seen the massive amount of targets that Israel has taken out in the Gaza Strip, how they have gone after, they have killed many, many terrorists inside the Gaza Strip. They are annihilating them. They are taking out all the terrorist sites they have, the launching pads, the storage facilities, the weapon manufacturing sites. Hezbollah is watching and seeing what Israel is doing in the Gaza Strip, and they know if they get involved, Israel is going to do the same to them, but just 100 times stronger. For such a time as this, pray for Israel. It's going to be another Shabbat Shalom. It's going to be another Shabbat, but not a whole lot of Shalom in this country. So for such a time as this, you can be a watchman on the wall wherever you are around the world, to stand up for Israel, to pray for Israel, to support Israel, to make Israeli rallies in the streets wherever you are. So there's too many grieving families. There are too many women who are sparing their children. Many, many children are orphans today because both of their parents were brutally murdered in this atrocity of massacre and war crimes that took place tomorrow morning 3 weeks ago. So for such a time as this, we are standing with Israel. Bye.